In way of review, we've seen two different formats of the if conditional structure. The first being an if-then, in which we have a process that is executed if a Boolean condition is true. We've also seen the if then else, which gives us two different forks in which a process is performed if the condition is true and a different process is performed if the condition is false. Now we're going to move into a third rendition of the if conditional structure, and that is the if then ElseIf Else. This gives us multiple forks of execution, not just if a condition is true or false, but we can evaluate multiple conditions. So in this example, we have a conditional structure that contains a Boolean expression, and it's evaluated either true or false. If it's true, we're going to perform process A. However, if it's not true, we're going to evaluate a second condition, which we'll call condition 2, and if that's true, we will perform process B. And if neither of those are true, then we'll execute the else fork for the default process. So this gives us three different forks. However, we're not limited to just three forks. We have as many else if forks as we need. So we can continue to evaluate different conditions. In this case, I have 5 different forks, 4 conditions being evaluated, and then the default else if none of those are true. Now it's important to recognize that if one of these is true, nothing past that is evaluated. So while we may have multiple conditions that are true, once a Boolean expression is determined to be true and that process is performed, none of the others will be evaluated or performed. So it only follows one path, in this case of the possible 5 different forks. Let's look at this in Visual Basic. I designed the Visual Basic WinForm application that allows the user to enter a temperature of H2O and be shown whether that is in the state of ice, water, or steam based on the temperature alone. The interface has a text box named txt_temp and then a picture box named pic illustration, and that pic illustration includes this diagram of the molecules and the description of the state. So in this case, water is being shown because my default temperature here is 100 degrees, and that's in Fahrenheit. Those are only 2 named controls. Everything else are labels. What I coded was the txt_temp text box whenever the text changes. So we coded for the text changed property. Let's take a look at that code. So I used a try catch. The focus is going to be what's in the try here. So I dimmed temp as double, and it's going to be equal to txt_temp.text converted to a double. Then I have my if else structure. If temp is less than or equal to 32, then I'm going to display an image from the resources of ice. And else if, so assuming that temp is greater than 32, else if temp is greater than or equal to 212, I'm going to display an image from my resources of steam. Otherwise, so it's not less than 32, it's not greater than 212, it's got to be water. So my else is pic illustration.image equals from the resources the image I created of water. If they put in some faulty input, maybe they put in a letter A or they make it blank, we're going to show a message box that says not a valid numeric input. Check your input as the title. So that's in the catch clause. So if we encounter a problem, that's the message that will come up. Let's watch this run. So if I change this temperature to 30 degrees, now it's less than 32, I'm getting the ice illustration. However, if I make it 230 degrees, now I'm getting steam. And if I change this to 200, it goes back to water. Just make this 212, back to steam, and 32 goes to ice. If we make it 33, we're back to water. So it's executing one of those 3 different forks. It's less than or equal to 32, it's greater than or equal to 12, otherwise it's going to show the default, which is the water. That's how we use an if then ElseIf Else structure. If you just jumped into this video, you can see all the videos from the Programming Practicum playlist by clicking on the image in the lower right. And if you'd like to be alerted to future videos I create, you can click my picture in the top right to subscribe to the channel.